let's talk about some signings, dude.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit older because this happened early last week. But Joel frickin' Freeman, wow, I didn't even realize that you have a graphic design degree, because look at you. That looks good, dude.
I didn't do any of that. I just stole that off of Infinite's website and went with it. I'm glad he's finally embracing the nickname that we've given him.
That's amazing. Hello, everyone. Welcome in to the Players Meeting, a Win Dummies production. I'm your host, Lucas Steele. Thanks so much for being here. Today, we have an amazing episode for you. Episode number 48. We are going to look at the latest Go Throw tournament in New Zealand, the last one in the series. We're also going to bring in a plethora of you, our fans, are going to come in and make some picks and choose who's going to have a better year than last year and who's going to have a worse year. We're also going to talk a little bit about some signings and that new Ricky logo. Is that maybe even worse than the Peach Pirate? We'll look at all that in this episode. If you have not, please subscribe to our Disc and Deals coverage YouTube channel. Make sure you ring that bell for notifications so you never miss a single episode. But without further ado, let's bring in the real star of the show, the one-time world champ, Chris Smith, a.k.a. Smitty. Smitty, what's up, dude?
Ready to do this, man. It's going to be a fun time bringing these nerds in, seeing what they got going on. So, Looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah, I'm super excited. For those of you that don't know, we got about 9 guys just sitting in the wind tunnel waiting to come in. So we're kind of doing this show a little bit live for them. They're going to get a sneak peek at some of the things that we're going to talk about. And we're going to start where we always start, Smitty. What's popping? What's been happening around the world of disc golf? And this week, we're going to start in New Zealand. And there she is, Smitty. Ella Hansen took it down by 7 strokes. This wasn't even close. Let's talk about her performance.
Well, it was a little closer than what the results showed. Juliana Korver was actually leading through the first 2 rounds, and Ella outlasted her. I'm guessing youth probably helped her out on that end. But yeah, Juliana had a great start. But yeah, Ella just, cream of the crop in this field for sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
you do notice who's only 26 strokes out of the win.
I sure do. You want to say something about it?
Well, that was you were all high and mighty on her a couple weeks ago. I mean, she might be your pick for a person who's going to do better this year.
You don't know who my pick's going to be. I do think that she's going to have an awesome year. I told you it's going to take some time for her. I'm just saying she has all the skills to make a run as a really good player in the women's field.
I'll give you that. She could be good, but I mean, this shows her current level against a true world-class pro.
Yes, and I will say we're going to see a lot of that this year as she tours for the first time. She's going to be down in some leaderboards, but I promise this year she's going to gain a lot of experience, and that's going to really help her out in her career.
Yeah, I think the girl who you slid into her DMs has a better chance of making noise there. Sophia.
I will say I've slid into multiple of the FPO's DMs. So let's not just say Sophia. I've also messaged Emily and Taylor. Sorry, Juliana and Ella, I haven't been in your DMs, but just wait.
Let's move on.
All right. And holy moly, on the men's side, we have to talk about Goose's performance.
Yeah.
Happy learned how to putt.
Well, it just changed it completely.
Yeah.
Went away from the push putt or the loft putt, whatever he had, and he was just spinning them in from everywhere, and you could see confidence just building. And those first 3 rounds, he was awesome. And 10:44 final round, and he was playing it pretty safe, and not running putts with much authority.
No, I mean, he was the spin on those was just perfect enough to where even in the headwinds, he was just spinning them and letting them at the pace of those putts for something that he's just learned how to do. He looked like he had some pretty good mastery of that putt already. Now, remind me if I'm wrong, but did he try to go to this at one other point in his career as well?
You remember? That I don't know. I know that when he gets in there close, he does a little bit of a spin putt. It's even different than what he does from 25 feet. But yeah, I mean, just this guy can putt. He's going to have a great season. And I hope Evelina took notice that sometimes you just got to throw away what doesn't work and build it from the ground up, which is what Goose kind of did here.
Yeah. And I mean, that third round, 1080, whew, gross.
Yeah.
And he wins by 6 strokes. The Kiwi himself, Levi Stout, getting second. Robert Burridge third. Braden Sides fourth. Luke Humphreys fifth. And look at that. Ezra Robinson did it. He did not finish second place again. This time he decided to finish 6th.
And got smoked by the Goose man.
Yeah, absolutely smoked.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Crazy shooting, fun tournament to watch. Did you watch all of it or any of it?
I watched the 2nd and 3rd round.
So you saw the same course twice. That's the more fun of the 2 courses to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, this one for some reason just kind of dragged for me. I just wasn't feeling it the same way, and I don't know if that's because Goose was playing so well and some of the other players weren't. But yeah, it just didn't interest me the same way.
I'm with you.
Let's talk about some signings, dude.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit older because this happened early last week. But Joel frickin' Freeman, wow, I didn't even realize that you have a graphic design degree, because look at you. That looks good, dude.
I didn't do any of that. I just stole that off of Infinite's website and went with it. I'm glad he's finally embracing the nickname that we've given him.
That's amazing. Yeah. So Joel frickin' Freeman with Infinite now. He was already sponsored by them when he was with Innova, so that's not much of a change, but it looks like that's going to be his sole major sponsor this year. So excited to see if anything changes in his bag.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited for. I'm sure the Gator will still stay in there, but
he's a big whale guy too.
Yeah. Well, and
whale.
he can find a number of putters now. He's got free reign on multiple companies, or all the companies, I guess. I'm more excited to see if this, like the Firebird and the T-Bird or Eagle or whatever he throws in that slot. Wonder if those stay or if he tries some other stuff. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Does the Destroyer stay? I mean, I think that's one that everyone wants to throw. So I don't think that makes a change.
Pretty sweet disc.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Fun.
All right. Well, let's talk about your new teammate, Macy Villadiaz, who was with Dynamic before. At one point, they did her dirty, from what I've heard, and now she's back. So I guess that beef has been squashed. Do you know anything about that?
I know nothing. I do think it's interesting that she's back. I mean, if she truly felt like they did her dirty, would you go back to somebody?
No. But then again, if I want to play disc golf professionally and they're offering me some money, I think sometimes the money's going to trump that. Like if I can tour full time because a company is going to pay me, how can I say no, even if they did me dirty in the past? And maybe they wanted to make amends.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I'd have a hard time going back, but maybe she wasn't done quite as dirty as the internet made it sound. So maybe being away from it for a year, she realized her worth and decided, well, maybe I was in the wrong.
Yeah. And maybe she has a child now and is looking at things from a different perspective. Who knows? But I agree. It was probably blown out of proportion, more than likely.
Surely not on the interweb.
What? That's crazy. And this just in. Chandler Kramer to Team Gateway, who seems to be signing everyone in my local scene. I've seen at least 7 people that I know just signed to Team Gateway. Chandler now on the team as well. Smitty, what do you think about this signing?
I think that is an amazing picture, and I'm not sure if it's real. Right? Is that some kind of chat GPT? And they typed in, make a guy, I don't know what he's doing there, flicking a disc. I don't think chat GPT knows that, with hair matching my jersey.
I mean, I will say he's one of the most vibrant players on tour. Him and Joel frickin' Freeman. Joel just needs to do something with his hair, and they could be related.
Great doubles team.
Oh, they'd be great. All right, moving on. And this just in. Actually, it's not even in yet. So Luke Humphreys on Go Throw said, "Hey, Robert Burr just signed with Dynamic Discs. Nothing has been announced." So I think Luke let the cat out of the bag. Well, we have somehow managed to confirm that he is with Dynamic Discs.
Well, look at the picture.
Well, yeah, it's the headquarters. What do you
How else would he be there throwing in front of it if we didn't sign a contract?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that seems like truly legit, but he has definitely been in front of the building. But so Luke let the cat out of the bag, and we realized that we were able to find that the cat got the bag and is now with Dynamic Discs.
He got something. I'm sure it's more than he was getting at Lone Star, and hopefully the plastic is better for him.
Well, he's already shown that he's played pretty well with it in New Zealand.
Yeah, he has done great over there. He just jumped right in and has thrown it all over the place.
He is. So congratulations. I'm excited about this pickup, honestly. So now they've got Evan Smith and Mr. Burridge. I'm excited about what they're going to do this year.
Yeah, all 3 of those young guys are all really solid players, and probably costing them half of what Rick was costing them. And I mean, they're not Rick, but who knows what they do?
Yeah. All right, we have to talk about this. Exciting news. So as we know, the European Open this year, that's where Worlds is going to be. Hole 16, infamous for having extremely large numbers because you have to make the island. And if you don't make it, it's very similar to 17 at USDGC. You have to shoot again. But they changed the rule last year. But it was just recently announced they are in talks to make it back to the original way and have it, if you don't make the island or inbounds off the tee, you're going to have to re-tee or throw from your last position if you don't make the island. Smitty, are you excited as I am for this change?
Yeah, I love it. I hope it happens. I highly doubt that PDJ is going to lean this way, though, because they'll have to have a special waiver. Like, it'll be the same thing as USDGC. That's why it is no longer a is it even a major? I think it was.
USDGC?
Yeah. No, I don't think it can be because something's up with it because of all the special rules that they have in place. So that could be the issue here. But you know what, dude? Just look at that. I would think any professional player in the world could take a 5 at worst just by going chip, chip, chip right around that onto the green. So I don't know, man. I'm really hoping that they do instill the buncer, I think is what they call it, rule, so that we can see people have Anthony Barella moments.
Yeah, I think it makes it so much more exciting, and it makes people play golf, I think, a little bit more and not get uber aggressive. And it's late enough in the tournament. It's hole 16, so you can see some real stroke swings to make like the end of a tournament even more exciting if you have it the old way.
And USDGC is an X major. That's what it is. It's not just a normal major. It's got an X in front of it. So I don't know if the guys even get ratings for playing it.
Oh, so yeah, I wonder if they can't
remember the women did not get ratings because or they couldn't count towards their deal. Remember that whole thing with Kristen?
Yes.
Where she went over 1,000. So
yeah. Okay.
Interesting. Hopefully they bring it back because it makes it way more fun and exciting. But they might be opening a Pandora's box if they do.
Yep, it sounds like it. All right, Smitty, we got to talk about this. The new Ricky logo, the Raptor Eye. Well, someone on the internet.
I liked it at first.
And now, if you look at this, someone drew it with some extra lines, and it just looks like someone kind of keeling over and really straining on the toilet. And I'm going to tell you, once someone did this, I can't unsee this.
Yeah,
I mean, I think this really does give a new term to sake bomb. A whole new meaning.
It's pretty crappy design. Do you think it's version 2?
I will say, so as we know, we had the Peach Pirate that instantly became the Butt Pirate, and now we have this, and I think this takes the cake.
Yeah, but that little mouth and the eyeballs aren't really on it, are they?
No, so none of those extra lines are.
Okay.
So someone did a really good job of like making it look that way. If we pull up the actual logo, like you can still see it, but it's not like as evident. But now that we are showing it to you here, I promise it's hard to see anything else. Once you look at it now, it's game over.
Well, you know that no matter what they do, half of the discs that come out of the factory are going to have a little face and shoe drawn on them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's game over. The internet is always undefeated. If that doesn't get a redesign, I don't know. I didn't ever love it to begin with. I told you that in your post, but you liked it. Do you still like it?
Well, it's a little harder to like now, that's for sure.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Brother.
Yeah. So great work, internet. And
we could have used this last year.
Right? This is our joke. We always say Aiden Scott, Evan Smith. We're like, who is it? Which one are they? And then someone made this. So I guess we're not the only ones that thought this same thing.
I've got this hanging on my wall right behind the computer here. It's gonna make my season a lot easier being able to differentiate between the three of these guys.
Yeah. I can now differentiate just because Aiden won that tournament in New Zealand, and he's now known for his headphones and those disgustingly large sunglasses. But in Evan Smith and Evan Scott still might be the same person, just with longer hair.
I don't think so.
But all right, Brody Smith. And he says, and I quote, big changes coming. And from Brody Smith, what could this mean, Smitty?
Man, I don't know. It's hard telling. A big change to him. Maybe he's going to wear a different kind of socks. I don't know. He seems like a guy who's kind of down the same path. I don't know what's going on with him.
Do you think this is disc golf related at all?
Yeah, I would assume
his wife is going to be a cheerleader for the Buccaneers next year instead of the Raiders.
That'd be good for him.
Maybe she goes to Detroit. Maybe it's not about her at all. Maybe it's something to do with his own disc golf card company to compete against Paul because he hates him so much. Huh?
Only nerds collect cards. I'll say it again.
All right.
Oh, man.
So I don't know what it is. I wonder if it's even disc golf related, but.
How much do you care?
A little bit.
That's a little bit more than me. I care none.
Because what if it's like him and Yuli are breaking the pot up? That's going to make you sad. You watch that.
I do. Won't make me too sad. I'll just watch Yuli's instead.
What if he's done with Discraft?
See ya.
Okay, what if he's going to go back to Frisbee freestyling? All right.
See ya.
Okay, enough. I really am interested, though, but I also wonder if this is very similar to Drew Gibson's post of the whole disc golf world is about to be turned upside down, like if it's a little bit of really like a nothing sandwich.
Well, I think a big deal to Brody is not probably as big of a deal to the rest of us.
Well, we'll see.
Maybe he's seen the NCAA banning transgender men from playing women's sports.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's his big change is coming. He's gonna say, since NCAA is doing that, PDJ is gonna follow suit. We'll find out. Let's do this. Let's do what we came here for.
All right. So as you can see here, we have a gas mask, which means a stink. And we have a gentleman in the spotlight who's going to shine. So we are going to bring on several people that we have in the wind tunnel. We're going to bring them on one at a time. They're going to tell us who they think is going to have a better year than last year. And then also who they think is going to have a worse year than last year. And we're going to talk about if we like those picks. We're going to have them we might ask some follow-up questions. But before we bring them on, Smitty.
If their guy wins, we should bring him on that next show.
Should we bring them on and then also take them to Texas Roadhouse?
I see lots of nodding in the wind tunnel. We're going to have to get a lot more views than nearly 500 to pay for that.
Okay, I will start saving up. I think we earned $1 on our last podcast. So let's go. We're going to get big money.
I'll cover the rolls if we go.
Oh, you are so kind. But yeah, it will be on me. So whoever does the best, I will take you out with Smitty. We will have a players meeting at Texas Roadhouse. All right?
Awesome.
All right, but I do think we should probably go first.
Okay.
So I'll let you
want to do your top dog or your bottom dog?
Doesn't matter either way. I have fantastic picks on both sides of the coin.
All right, I'll go first, and I'll do my player who I think is going to shine this year. I'm down to two of them. Looked pretty hard, both birds. Couldn't narrow down between the two of them. I had to do some number crunching. I got the Goose Man and I got Eagle. Both had pretty rotten years last season for them. I think both are going to do better for sure. Few numbers. Goose was 16th average finish. Finished 58th at USDGC, 20th at Players Cup, 52 at the European Championships, and 53rd at Worlds. This guy sucked at majors. Big time. On Disc Golf Pro Tour, he averaged 21st, but he did have a nice third place sandwich with third at chess.com and third at MVP. So he started great and finished great and was pretty bad in the middle. Eagle, who was battling the injury bug quite a bit last year, still ranked 14th, according to Statmando. He played okay at USDGC with a 27th place finish, sucked at Champions Cup, 90th, sucked at European Open, 61st, and was in the running at the World Championships. Got third place.
Yeah.
Yeah. His best Disc Golf Pro Tour finish was 7th at the Green Mountain Open. So lots of room for improvement there for Eagle. But I'm not sold on Eagle. I'm going with the Goose Man based on what I saw this last weekend. If he can putt half as good as he did this last weekend, I think that he is one of the top throwers of the Frisbee in all of disc golf. And he should have no problem having a better season. So my pick for Shine is the Goose Man.
Okay, I like it. I will say I had Goose going the other way based off his performance at the very first New Zealand tournament because that putt looks so shaky. Now that he got that putt dialed, if he continues that, dude, I'm with you. He could ball out this year.
Mm-hmm.
Eagle is one that I thought might go the other way as well, though, because Eagle, he's just so injury prone, right? So you just never know with Eagle. He played Memorial. He tweaked something there, so that dude is always injured. He's someone that I'm just a little concerned with at all times, and he's not someone I could ever pick as a Shine. But I think Goose is a great choice. Let me tell you mine. So my guy is currently ranked 43rd. Okay.
Wow, way to go out on a limb.
He's played 23 events last year. He got 3 top 10s and then 9 top 25s, throwing garbage plastic Lone Star discs. And now he's switched over to dynamic discs. He's been balling out in New Zealand. Now I know the field is not as deep, but over there he's got a win. He's got 4th. He's got 3rd in the 3 tournaments over there. And I think his confidence is growing in those discs. I mean, he's just learning how to throw them. I think this guy, there's no way that he doesn't have a better year this year. Robert Burridge is my Shine. I think he does. I think he could get up to like a top 20. And that's 23 spots there. And he had 3 top 10s with Lone Star. I think he at least doubles that with the dynamic discs.
Bob's a good pick, man. He, like you said, he was killing it at all the events in New Zealand. Looked great, both spins off the tee, and his putt looked phenomenal. I think no matter what, he's going to be better than 43rd. Mm-hmm. And I do think 20 to 25 is for sure doable. So he will have a co-pilot the entire tour that you got to take into account. Relationships in small places, I could see that being a hindrance on my mental health. And one thing goes wrong, dude could go down.
Yeah, it's true. It's very, very true. But luckily,
I also noticed the girl on Goose's bag the whole weekend too.
Yeah, I wonder if there's something going on there.
Duh.
What? I don't know. But anyways, Bob Burridge, that's my guy. So let's go Stinks, and then we'll bring some people in. All right, so I'll go first this time. So I'm going to go with someone who played 21 events last year. He got 4 top 5s, 6 top 10s, 13 top 25s. This dude won 2 events last year. He won the MVP Open and the Swedish Open. And this year, I don't think he wins any. He's a great player, great putter. But I think him getting 2 wins last year was not something that I ever see happening again for him again. I don't know if he gets another win. And I'm going with James Proctor.
He had the putt of the year, that's for sure.
He did.
So are you taking Ronnie's hot take that James Proctor will never win again?
I think he's also aging. I actually don't know how old he is. He looks older than maybe I think he is, but he seems like he's been around for a long time. So, yes, I think that we don't see James Proctor get another win on tour.
Boy, that's a tough call, and I can't back that. That dude's a mountain of a man, too, by the way. He's probably as big as your big butt. That's a tough pick. I think I think that's a bad pick. I think James will be fine.
Well, I'm just saying if he doesn't win this year, he had 2 wins last year. Even if he plays solid, I think he's going to have a worse year just because I don't think he's going to get a win.
Yeah, he had 1 real win, and then I mean the Swedish Open was a killer win, but it wasn't the field of the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, dude, I'm going. I might be cherry picking here. In fact, I haven't decided yet. Let me go through my stats for my two dudes, and then we can decide.
All right.
I went with GB and AB.
Okay.
Gannon Buhr, the greatest disc golf season we've ever seen. I've said it on here many times. I don't know that this kid's ever going to lose. Right? He had all those wins last year. Played terrible at Champions Cup. Got 10th place. Can't believe he even finished. 6 wins, 1 time out of the top 10. 1 time. Ridiculous year.
So sick.
And I always said all the time via text to you and to Ronnie, not only is he the best player, he's the luckiest player because he gets good break after good break after good break. And, man, a few of those go the other way, and who knows what happens. He probably doesn't get that many wins because most of them were fairly tight batches. But he's already started off this year, started off slow at Memorial, and then just shredded the last of it. So it's tough to bet against the guy, but I mean, kind of cherry picking. And I think Anthony Barella had a pretty amazing year for him last year. I will say he's not going to get 4 wins again, I don't think. But when I look at how he played at the majors, 2nd at USDGC, 10th at Champions Cup, 13th at Worlds, those are all pretty solid finishes, really solid. And 36th at European Open. But, yeah, I think they'll both have worse years than they had last year. I think it's hard to repeat something like that, but I'm going to go Gannon Buhr has a worse year than he did last year. He'll still have an amazing year, but he's not going to win every single event that he plays. 6 wins.
Yeah, that's definitely cherry picking. That was the easiest.
I will tell you this though, he is going to win Worlds.
It is it. He did play well at that tournament last year. Did he win European Open?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came down to him and Rick.
Yeah.
Threw it out of bounds on
that's right.
Last hole.
Yeah.
So
I definitely think he wins Worlds, but I also think that's just a super easy pick. That's as layup as it gets.
Thank you.
But smart decisions. I will say
Bob Burridge isn't going out on too big of a limb there, pal.
Hey, it's a little bit more. I mean, I could have went down even further on that list because there is someone else I was thinking of but I didn't want you to talk. But all right, hey, let's do this. Let's bring in our first fan. We're going to call them a fan. It feels good to say we have fans. Okay, so our very first fan, he had his own podcast, not doing much of that anymore, but he does have his own YouTube channel. So if you have not checked it out, check it out. We got Quentin here with us from the Chain Clankers.
What's happening, guys? Good to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Of course, man. We're excited to hear some of your crazy picks. You can go either or first. You can go shine or stink. What do you think?
Okay. We'll start with the shine. I think this is the absolute, no doubt, easiest call of the year. The shine is going to be Kona Montgomery. Has just played absolutely horrifically the last few years, ever since she signed with Dynamic Discs. And I think there's a ton of pressure that was put onto her by this deal and by the deal going public. I've talked about it so many times. Smitty's done hearing it. But when you put out there that you're making $400 over 4 years, the same amount of money that Kristen Tatar is making, it just builds pressure in you. So then when weeks go by and more people like me start chirping of, oh, we're not seeing the production, and then now that's all gone. She doesn't have to worry about any of that. All that stress is gone. She gets to go and just play carefree, stress-free disc golf. And being in a position where she finished, I think, 31st-ish last year, this is a no-brainer that she's going to have more points than that. She's going to finish higher than that. Arguably, the hottest take that I'm going to give you is I think Kona is going to be on lead card for the final round of Worlds in the FPO division. I think she's going to absolutely unload on the haters like myself this year. In going back to Innova, she knows all those discs. She's using the same disc she's used for virtually her entire career. I think Kona is just set up to have a comeback year. Really like Kona this year.
Wow. I will say, Smitty, go ahead. I know you want to rip him a new one.
Hey, if Kona is playing on the lead card in the final 9 at the World Championships, we will do what nobody has ever done before at Texas Roadhouse. We will get a dessert.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So you may have not been here when we were announcing this, but if you make a pick and it comes to fruition, we're taking you out to eat at Texas Roadhouse.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
well,
that's
looking forward
big.
to this one then.
Yeah. So Kona currently is 42nd in the rankings. So very similar to a pick of my own that had Bob Burridge currently 43. But I wasn't crazy enough to say that Bob is going to be on a lead card at Worlds.
Hey, man, someone's got to be bold. Someone's got to say the spice. There's too many good things happening to her, moving in the correct direction. I really think playing stress-free disc golf just allows you to play so much better. And I really do think she's going to have a great year.
She's one missed putt from the world falling in on her. She's a mental midget.
That could be true. Then we all get a laugh at this.
Yes.
No, I think it's a decent pick. I think Kona will play well. She'll play better than she has last year.
I don't think there's any way.
Hopefully for her sake, she's just healthy would be the number one thing I would hope for. I mean, I don't have any ill will towards Kona, and she's an easy target to make fun of. But, I mean, in all honesty, I hope she does do great, and I hope that she has a great season.
Yeah. I don't think there's any way that she has a worse season than she did the last couple. So great pick as far as that's concerned. But that again, I think is the exact same thing Smitty just did with Gannon. I think that was a little bit of a cherry picking. But you adding on the lead card made that so much better for me to talk trash later. So thank you so much.
Hey, I can't wait when we get down to that round just before the lead card. It's a second to last round, and she's on that edge. She's like 6th going into it, somehow finishes 4th, and she's on that card. The sweat's going to be real, but you're ready. I'm ready to give you the one who's going to do worse this year. And this one should equally be just as hot. This has been arguably one of the greatest disc golfers of all time. I think people who are more COVID disc golfers, kind of like myself, believe this is the GOAT compared to Ken Climo. And I think that Paul McBeth is going to have a worse season than he did last year. I think the decline is real. I think that we're never going to see Paul McBeth win a MPO World Championship again. I think this McBeast narrative is done. I don't think he has that killer instinct to flip the switch anymore, as well as the field is significantly better than what it was 5 to 10 years ago, right? So last year, I think the big indicator to me in the decline was the C2 putting. He was 71st on tour in C2 putting, and I really believe making those C2 putts can be a huge difference between competing and winning events, which he didn't do last year, or not winning events, falling outside the top 5, top 10. I believe outside of I think in the top 7, which he finished 6th last year, he had the highest amount of 40th or worse finishes. So I think those are the kind of tournaments we're going to continue to see from him. I also just think he's got other things going on, right? He just had his first child. He's got this foundation he's doing. He's working on building a brand in Europe more than he's focused, I believe, on winning tournaments nowadays, because his legacy is going to be so much more than him winning tournaments right now. So I think our head's in a little bit of a different place from having that killer mentality and being that McBeast who shoots 18 down, who wins worlds going away. I think the fall off is real, and I think the fall off is finally hit.
Go ahead, Smitty.
He is the greatest player of all time. No doubt about it. He's better than Ken Climo was. He's single-handedly changed disc golf. I personally think the reason he finished in all those, 40 whatever and above, was basically because he's not winning. He doesn't care. So he's trying to make every shot, every putt, every throw. He's just being uber aggressive, and I think it cost him. And I don't think he got the good breaks that he's gotten all those years before. He used to always hear flash the ring. And that's just something, well, we didn't see him much last year on coverage, but I just don't think that the things were falling in place for him like they had in the past. But I think that's a bad take. I'm never going to bet against the Beast. Yeah. If James Proctor misses that putt and that goes to a playoff, I have no doubt Beast mode kicks in and James Proctor pees down his leg and loses.
So I will say this, Quentin, I was with you. Like, I had Paul McBeth on my short list for stinks. So I do think he's going to have a decline. There were a few things that I didn't agree with what you said. Like, I still think he has that killer's edge. I still think he has a switch that he can flip. But I also think he is at a different stage in his life. And kind of what Smitty said because he has really nothing to lose. He's got big contract. He's going to go for the gusto. And that's a little bit different than he played earlier in his career. And I think because he's not golfing the same way, I don't see him winning as much, which I do see him having a worse year. But I still think he is an amazing golfer. And it's crazy to think that Paul McBeth all year last year did not have a single win. And I mean, that's unheard of.
13 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Do you think he's putting unnecessary pressure on himself to win Worlds every single year to try to catch Kenny?
Well, it's going to be tough to catch. It's going to be tough to catch a dozen of them, especially now. Yeah. That's what Pimo has, if you throw in his Masters Worlds. But I think what might mean as much to him as the Worlds is the majors. I think he's just one behind in the major championships. And like you said, the whole field is there. There's so many phenomenal players, and any of them can get hot on any given week. But I think that last year was tough for him. I don't think he was in the same physical condition that he's been previously. He was up until last year, he was the freak athlete on tour. He was the guy who you could tell put in the time doing everything. And I really think that this dude might be working his butt off right now while we're saying he's not.
And that's what I wonder is has he put in the time this offseason? Like, does he want it? And we haven't really seen anything from him. Like, he hasn't played any tournaments this offseason. He usually doesn't, but we haven't seen anything from him. He hasn't really posted anything other than like his foundation stuff. So I wonder if he is just doing some things behind the scene and just going to surprise us. I mean, obviously it's always better for the sport if Paul McBeth is Paul McBeth. So I hope we're wrong, but I'm kind of with you, Quentin. I don't think we have a huge fall off, but I do think we have a steady decline year by year, year over year.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go from 6th to 50th or anything like that. But I could see realistically, maybe we finish at 10th, maybe we finish outside the top 10. Kind of like you were saying, Smitty. If I'm not going to win, I've made my money, I've done the things. Does it really matter if I lay this up and get out of here with a 6th place finish? I might as well try to run it, and maybe that leads to some mistakes. So yeah, I definitely agree with this low decline, and I do think the Worlds want to pass this guy up.
Yeah, and because we looked at it last year, Smitty, and we know some of those, the way he finished his rounds last year, there were some large numbers because he was just going for things that is very un-Paul-like. And we saw multiple tournaments that were similar to that. But okay, dude, I love it. Thank you for your picks. Thanks for jumping on with us, Quentin. We also have a video. Me and you just made a video that's going to be coming out on the channel soon. So make sure everyone be on the lookout for that. We got a Trash Panda. I'm throwing 4 Trash Panda discs against Quentin's whole bag, and we'll see how that turns out. So make sure you check that.
It's a great video.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. All right, my man.
Thanks, Quentin. That was great, man. You were prepared. That was awesome.
Take care, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Later, brother.
Bye.
Sean Ayton. Sean, what up, dude?
What up? How are you guys?
You know, I am feeling just as good as that rocket behind you. I'm ready to blast off, baby.
All right. Well, I'll come in swinging. So I've been going back and forth. You know, I feel like I probably don't have as hot of takes as crazy, but I'm more of I'm an underdog guy. I'm a hometown kind of hero guy, and so my shine for the season is gonna be my man Raven Newsom. He's a NC State alumni. Go Pack. He played disc golf there. He sits I think I want to say in the 38th in the world rankings. He's an MVP player. I've seen him play well. He's got moments. I think it's little less you haven't seen it too much, but I think he's got it. I think it's there to really start pushing his way up the standings.
Raven Newsom, you are a homer if I've ever seen one. He has not played well in quite some time. I know there was a few years ago that we saw him on some lead card of Des Moines or something like that, right?
He's got the potential, and he got injured 2 seasons ago, and so last season was really more of that first full season, really trying to play. But I think he has the potential with the work he's putting in to make it back up.
All right.
Yeah, he had an 8th place finish at the European Disc Golf Festival as his best showing in any Elite Series and Pro. And
also, I think 11th or 12th in MVP.
12th at Worlds.
Yeah, 12th at Worlds, and I think 11th at MVP. So he can crack the top 10, top 20 range when he's on.
Yeah, I think him being 38th, I'm actually shocked at that. I actually think he'll probably end up going the other way.
Wow.
I think it'd be worse than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at Statmando right now to see what he is ranked.
Yeah, so I just have the world rankings from October of last year, and he's 38th there, but I think that's probably better than we're going to see him this year. So we'll see. I'm writing this down.
I'm a ride or die kind of hometown hero, man. Okay, I choose off feeling. I choose off gut.
I'm going to tell you this. I did that all last year, and really, it hurt.
I want to give my Texas Roadhouse to someone else. Really pass it on. But just for the nerds out there, my stinker this year is going to be this man right here.
Ricky Wysocki. Hold on. Let's show that card for the world to see. Here, hold on. All right. There is no one in the world that has more Brixton cards.
That's not even close to true. That's not even close to true. But I do think Ricky Wysocki, he had a great year. But I mean, going off of being with Dynamic Disc for so long, being a staple, his general absolutely throwing that left, right, and center, to now switch to Discraft, that's a different mental headspace than where you're at. I mean, he's still going to be seeing Gannon Burr all the time, and I think it's hard for him to try and keep up pace with what he did. I mean, he still had 3 wins this last year, but I just see him just dipping a little bit. I don't see him putting up the same numbers he did. He's a great player, 2-time world champion, but I think he falls off.
Yeah, I think he's another one that's kind of very similar to Gannon.
It's a little cherry pick.
He's towards the top. It wouldn't be a surprise if he has a little worse year, but again, he's throwing different discs. Smitty, do you think if you threw Discraft, you'd have a better year? Oh, wait, hold on. Don't answer that.
I'm still looking for Raven Newsom. I think Rick is going to be fine. I have no concerns about that dude shredding. And you said he's been with DD for a long time. He was there 2.5 years, I think. And Rick could go pick up a manhole cover and probably beat half the world with it. That dude's a bad dude. And when it comes to competitive people, that's Ricky Wysocki. He's a one of the greatest competitors disc golf seen. I actually think Rick might have a better year than he did last year,
Ooh.
which is tough when you're the second best player, right? I actually did look at him as my shine because I think Rick will be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if we do see an uptick just with the discs themselves. And, we kind of saw it out of Big Germ, kind of a rejuvenation with him throwing new plastic. And I wonder if we see something similar like that with Rick. I think when you have new plastic, it just makes you go out to the field and work harder to learn those discs. And so I could potentially see him doing better. But I could also see him going the other way. So I think he's on the borderline. So I think that's not the worst pick.
I think one thing, though, and by the way, I found Raven Newsom. I had to go to the second page. He's 54th. I think the one thing that'll help Rick as much as anything is the fact that Discraft is going to promote the heck out of him. He's going to have special Rick runs. He's going to have his own custom disc. It's going to be more than a general. And I think Rick eats that stuff up.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
The lines for him after every round is huge. Everyone loves that man, but I don't know. I just don't see it. I mean, like obviously I see his performance. I just think it's just going to be more like a little bit of a Paul Macbeth. He's so competitive. I think that the results are just going to be affected a little bit.
All right. We love it. We love to hear it. Maybe you're right, and we're taking you to Roadhouse, but probably not.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. All right. Well, Sean, thanks for coming on, dude. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Yeah, buddy.
It's Loft. Loft, what up? You're on mute, buddy. How are you, sir?
Be even better when I unmute myself. Thanks, guys. How are you?
Yeah. We're so good. It's good to see that face and that Winnipeg Jets hat.
Yeah, go Jets. Big fan, let me tell you. Long-time fan. And interesting that you guys have me on because Survivor League last year, I don't think I ever advanced past the first round. So these are going to be absolutely terrible takes.
Neither did we.
Yeah, it was very fair. I think I did it one time, and it felt great.
My name's not Patsy. I just don't know anything.
Know. We should have got her.
We should have. Plus, we could take her to Roadhouse. That'd be fun.
For real. Yeah. Okay. Ready for some heat here. First of all, I'm gonna sneak one in. I'm gonna sneak an extra one in. FPO side. Little gal by the name of Lisa Fakis coming over from Lone Star to Millennium Golf Discs. I'm just going to sneak that one in. Watch out for her. Total homer pick there, but she's actually throwing some good plastic, and I'm excited to see what she does. But for my shine, got to look at a guy that did something really impressed 2 years ago, kind of had a little bit of a down year last year, and that is Mr. Kyle Klein. Really, really shined in 23 with his wins at Waco and USDGC. Really showed that he had what it takes, and just another year older, still throwing the same plastic. And a little bit of a side to that is just with looking at what House of Discs is doing, you can really see that they're leaning into those the Discraft brand and the Latitude brand, and just leaning into those MPO players and Latitude with the FPO players. I'm really excited to see what Kyle can do. Just looking at, he had a decent year last year. He was 12th overall, but I really can see him with last year having 2 second place finishes, one at Austin, one at the Preserve. He's really got the opportunity to take that step back up, get some wins, some more Elite Series pushes there and Masters pushes. But I would not be surprised to see him in the top 5 in 2025.
Oh, he definitely has all the talent. So I could see Kyle Klein on the incline, moving on up.
Hey.
Thank you. Smitty, do you like that pick? Hate it. Talk to
Yeah,
trash.
I do like it. Kyle was on my short list of guys I was looking at to make improvement. But when I looked at him, he actually had a better year last year than I thought he did. Right?
He's
just
so quiet.
So quiet. We just forget about him all the time. I was using Statmando, of course, because that's my go-to. And I had him at 9th overall last year and ranking. And the only reason I didn't pick him was because I think 9th is really dang good. And I can think of 8 guys that are gonna beat him out probably over the whole year. But I'm with you. I think Kyle can get a win or two here or there. He's got all the tools. He's shown us that before. And yeah, I think it's a good pick. I just couldn't pull the trigger on it because of how good his season secretly was last year.
Yeah, I mean, to finish 12th ranked, or in your case with Statmando at 9th, it's hard to say you're going to do better than that.
Right.
But just at that, he's just at that age, 22 years old. You're starting to figure some of those things out. The maturity sets in. The nerves are going to be a lot less, not a lot less, but there's nerves and everything. But you just get really hopeful for a guy like that.
Yeah, and I mean, lots of experience, I think, is the biggest thing. Is yes, he's 22, but he's been on the tour for a little while now, and so no wins last year. So even if he just gets one, that's going to be a better season. So I don't think that's a bad pick because he can definitely pop off and get a win pretty easy.
Yeah, I'm saying top 5 for Kyle Klein.
All right, that's a big take. All right, well, hopefully we're taking you to Texas Roadhouse because I want to see how many rolls you can eat. I don't know why I wanted to say that out loud, but it happened, so I apologize.
Hey, I love me some rolls.
All right, maybe. We can have a contest.
Okay, Stinks time.
Try to drink. Oh yeah, and Smitty will also try to drink some set a record for drinking iced tea. I don't know 13. If you know. 13 is his record.
I'll bring my 6-year-old son along. He is like a tea fiend. You and him would get along well, Smitty.
Well, let's do it.
All right, stink time.
We're not paying for the kid though. Kid's on your bill.
Yeah,
it's a cheaper meal. Come on. There's those armadillo nuggets, man. He'll slam.
Well, we can pay for him, but not you. You choose.
Okay. Fair enough. Stink time. I hate to do this because this is a very likable guy. Played phenomenal last year, just kind of out of nowhere and wearing the stupidest hat in the world. Joey Buckets is going to have a rough year this year. And I'm going to make some Castoplast fans mad about this. I know I'm part of that community somewhat. And the consistency of that plastic is so tough. I know he gets to throw some extra stuff. I think he throws a destroyer and some things like that. But he last year won Idlewild. He had a second place. He had a great European swing, 4th at Krokol and 2nd at the Swedish Open. But it's hard to me to maintain that level of competitiveness with some plastic that I personally just don't trust, at least to the level. And that's the swing side of the House of Disc argument is I just don't think that they're leaning into that kind of brand and their pros on that side of the endeavor with House of Discs. But he just kind of came out of nowhere. We knew Joey Buckets as the name, but in the same way that Kyle Klein had such a great 23, we knew him, stepped up. He's suddenly the guy with Discmania, and then he had this drop off year in comparison to the previous year. So Joey Buckets, Joseph Anderson is my stink for 25.
Man, he was on my short list for stinks too.
He was mine too. So,
but
he's a likable guy. He's a great guy
for sure.
And then that's what makes it hard.
He stung me too many times last year. I went against him, and he can't do this again. He can't do this again. He can't do this again. And every single time that sucker did it. So
yeah.
Now I don't know if he's going to win anything this year. He won Idlewild last year, right? That's what you said.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a tough pick. That's a good pick, but it's tough. I hope he does great, but I can see him not. I think that's a great pick, Law.
Yeah, I like that pick. Again, he was on my short. I think Buckets had 5 top 5s, 8 top 10s, 13 top 25s. And that's just going to be tough to come out of nowhere and do that. And now that you've had a good season under your belt, to then repeat that, there's going to be different type of pressure on him that I don't know if he's going to handle well. But he's a very cool, calm, and collected guy, and I think that's what serves him well. But I do think he's going to have a down season compared to last year. So love the pick.
Yeah. Hate to do it,
man.
but that's disc golf, baby.
I listened to him on some commentary somewhere. I don't remember where it was.
Oh, he talks?
Yeah, he did commentary on Ace Run. I think pretty sure that's where I heard him.
Well,
right, good picks, dude.
Many students. Hey, thanks, guys. I enjoyed this quite a bit.
Thanks, Law.
Later, guys.
Yeah, see you, dude.
What up, dude?
What up, Cooey?
Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. I really enjoy your show. So
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for watching.
all right, so I had it down to 3 guys. Lucas stole Robert Birch. Nah, he wasn't number 1. He was 3rd on my list anyway.
Okay.
I thought about Luke Taylor, but the guy I decided to go with was kind of the guy everybody's been talking about the last couple weeks on podcasts. He started off the year pretty rough. He had an 11th place finish at the Open in Austin, but then he didn't really do a whole lot early, like Texas State and all that. But then at Iowa, the Des Moines, whatever it's called, finished 7th place, 4th place at D-Globe, 3rd place at GMC, 20th at MVP, 7th on the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, and then 21st at Worlds, 13th at USDGC, and 36th at Champions Cup. Didn't play in the European Open. I'm going with Evan Smith from DD's newest signing. I think he's going to have a big year. I know he finished, I think, 16th in the world rankings and the 22nd in the DGPT standings last year. I think he's going to improve on both of those. I think he's going to have a really big year.
I'm a fan of Evan Smith.
Yeah.
Now that I know exactly who he is, I'm an even bigger fan. But he was doing that with Clash last year. You know what I mean? That is not the greatest disc in my mind. And now, for all that dynamic disc is, they still make a solid plastic. And, Smitty's thrown that most of his career. He's won a world championship with it. I think their plastic's good. And I do see Evan Smith having at least, if not, I don't think he's going to decline. He might have about the same type of year or even a little bit better. Smitty, what are your thoughts on Evan?
I think it's a good pick. I think the interesting thing with Clash is those guys are all throwing the Destroyer. Those guys are all throwing Buzz or Rock or whatever they want. They had to have very minimal Clash discs. So he was throwing good discs already.
Okay, that's fair.
But, I think he's probably in a better place financially going with dynamic discs than he was at Clash. So that's got to be a load off, I would think, if that's your main income, not having to maybe play so well and still be able to have a cheeseburger instead of a peanut butter and jelly.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I think it's a good pick. And he's another one kind of like Kyle. He's just quiet, and we don't hear much about him. And we look at it, and we're surprised where he's at. So, yeah, he could have a great year. It's going to be tough because he, like you said, he had a good year last year as well.
Well, I think having a full disc lineup, like you kind of like what you were alluding to, Lucas, is I think that'll really help him really like across the board just with his consistency. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I just think that's just the way I feel.
Yep.
Well, he's going to have so many more discs at his disposal too.
Right. Exactly.
I'm guessing if you're sponsored by Clash, you probably get only Clash discs or whatever, and he's going to be able to get anything he wants now, and boxes of them probably.
He talked about on the Upshot I think it was the Upshot, one of the podcasts I listened to, and talking about how he's going to fly out to a few events. I think he's going to fly out to OTB, or maybe, I guess Champions Cup this year. So I think you have the kind of what you were saying. Like I think that could take some stress off of him, and just allow him to play him better. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Thank you. Okay, well, my stink. I had a hard time. I guess I'm going to be lumped into the Smitty category of
Cherry picker!
Well, I'm not really that confident in this pick because I actually think he's probably going to have a good year. I mean, he might. I just don't think he's going to do better than he did last year. And I'm going with Niklas Antala, which is probably, I don't know. He could improve, but he was like 5th, I think, in the world rankings, and then 3rd in the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So I don't see him being better than that. I don't know. Maybe if he does, he's going to have a hell of a year. That's what I went with. Kind of
I agree. That's another one that was just kind of on the cusp, kind of like Ricky, like Annan. It's tough when you're that high up to come back and have a season just as good or better. So I'm right with you. I do think he probably has a little worse season. It's just crazy to me that he played as well as he did, right? Like, it's just not someone that you would expect, but man, that kid's got game.
That's some good tournaments.
Yeah.
I think that's a good pick as well. I think both your picks are solid. I don't think you cherry picked nearly as hard as I did because I think
not even close.
I think that we expect maybe Nicholas to not have as good of a year, and I mean we're all expecting Gannon to be in the running at every single tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Good job, dude. Love your picks.
Thanks, guys.
And hey, thanks for watching the program. Love that you're a fan.
For sure.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, dude. Yes. There he is. Jose, what's up, dude?
Yo, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Hear you well.
Cool. So I have a different take just by growing up doing sports. And so I think, like if someone on the team's like the top dog, and then there's another guy on the team and he's the top dog, and they have a really good fight against each other, so Ricky and Paul, and they don't like each other when they're on separate teams, but I think this move with Ricky going to Discraft, I think it's going to make this like these two dudes, and I think they're going to like unite versus Gannon Bear. I think they're going to become really good friends. I think it's going to be another like Eagle and Simon. I think it's going to happen without them wanting it. And I think, them being together and having that camaraderie is going to shake Gannon. So that's kind of my take on both at the same time.
Okay. So hold up. So are you saying Rick is going to have a better year?
Rick. Yes.
Or are you saying Paul is going to have a better year? Or are you saying they're both going to have a good year? And
Paul's
Gannon's
going to have a good year, but I think Ricky's going to be a big part of it. Ricky's second, so the only better year he could have is by, beating Gannon. So Paul's going to have a better year.
So Macbeth is going to have a better year. Gannon is not.
No.
But it's because of Ricky and Paul becoming best friends and sharing intimate world title knowledge.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
think Ricky's going to correct Paul's 60-foot game because it used to be the best. I mean, he was draining 80-footers, 60-footers, 70-footers left and right. And he's not really doing that anymore. So I think Ricky's going to be like, hey, man, that's what you're doing wrong.
I love the dreams that you're having at night.
Yes, I can tell you right now that Rick and Paul are not going to go out and ever be in the same place together willingly. They don't hate each other by any means, but disc golf is a different breed, man. It's different than a normal team sport. They still want to kick the crap out of each other. I do think that you're right, though, that Rick being on the team is going to push Paul not because they're friends, but because I remember when I was a cross-country guy, I was never the top 1, 2, 3. I was that number 5 through 7 guy who had to fight my butt off to get to go to varsity. And a lot of times those are my buddies or even people I didn't like. And it pushed me to be better just because I didn't want to be the first guy off of varsity. And there's not varsity in disc golf, but we're all going to look at the stats and say Rick is beating Paul or Paul is beating Rick. I think it's going to push both of them being on the same team, but not because they're all of a sudden buddies.
Yeah. I think that'd be the fun way to look at it. But yeah, I think it's going to push Paul. And I think he's got another world title in him. He does really good in Europe. And so I I think it's there, and I think it's going to be this year.
I think a healthy Paul Macbeth, a fit Paul Macbeth, a confident Paul Macbeth, all three things that he might not have been last year, is still has a shot at winning a world title. I'm right with you. I'm not like Quentin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say this, that I do think Paul plays extremely well in Europe, and you nailed that. And I do think he could potentially be in the running for a Worlds this year. And how can you bet against Paul Macbeth when it comes to World Championships? But again, you went cherry pick on Gannon Burr, but at least you had more of a reason than Smitty just cherry picking. You had your fantasy of Paul and Ricky frolicking in a field together. So
the problem is Gannon and Rick are good buddies. Those two seem to really like each other.
I just see a collab coming, and I think those discs are going to sell, and it's going to be a really limited run, and it's going to be sweet.
Well, I do think they're going to have probably some sales together, and they might act like buddies. But that might be just all that you need to buy a disc and for Paul to perform the way that you expect him to. Man, I hope we're taking you to Roadhouse, because I do like that pick, and it is fun to root for Paul, especially now that he's an underdog. I feel like he's in that part of his career where now it's like we know what he's done for the sport, and now we're just all like trying to get behind him. Like, come on, Paul, get back to what you were. You know what I mean? So it's fun to root for him.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
All right, Jose,
yes,
my man.
Appreciate Good Gannon Burr pick. Good Gannon Burr pick.
You guys, you're cherry picking. All right, Jose.
You
take
become
care,
best friends.
Best friends.
See you, Jose.
What up, dude?
No, we suck. Yeah, I'm still.
So you're going pretty late. Well, we got one more person after you. So a lot of these people have been talked about. So do you have someone new to bring us, or do you just have some repeats?
Well, one new. I don't want to agree with everybody, so I got a list here. I'm gonna trickle down the list and give you some new name.
All right. What you got?
I'm gonna start with Sean. I'm gonna go let me explain my pick before I pick it. I was looking at the list. And I'm like, who has an all-around game that's just keeps coming up short, whether it's doing something dumb, maybe hanging out with the wrong people, or just the mechanics just need to be tweaked just a little bit. And my pick is going to be one
Ezra Aderhold.
Ezra Aderhold. I think he's worked on his putting. I think that was his biggest thing last year. And then did some dumb things last year that really hurt him. I think a good example was USDGC. He did some dumb stuff and kind of blew the tournament, I think, for him. So I think if he figures that out, he's got a good backhand, good forehand. I think what it looks like to me, he cut out Brody. So hopefully that helped him out.
Yeah, I actually really, really like this pick, Brandon. Like, I do think Ezra has such big game, and I hate the way that he got with Brody and the negative stuff that he was talking.
Do I think he's going to go out there and win every week? No.
Yeah, because what was he in the rankings that you looked at?
31st.
Yeah, he's a top 20 player easily.
Easy.
Yeah, so I like that, dude. I like that pick.
What I've heard, he's tweaked his step putting, so hopefully that'll help out. I don't know about inside circle, but hopefully outside circle that'll help him.
Yeah, and I think he did well at Memorial, didn't he? Did he play Memorial? Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
He was in the running for a long time.
Yeah,
I actually don't know that hanging with Brody was a bad thing for him.
You don't think so?
No, I think doing those practice videos with Brody was good for Ezra for sure. It's when he got with Goose that they got all negative on all the layouts and critiquing courses instead of worrying about just playing them, which probably comes from Brody as well.
Yeah. I agree with that too. But yeah,
Yeah, I think
look who he has on the team too. Like look who he can have on his channel this year. Like he's got a lot of good performers he can
are
put
you saying
on.
Ezra and Ricky
I mean,
are frolicking to a
practice
field
round?
together?
Practice round?
No, I think they are. I think Ezra has been part of that Arizona crew all winter. I don't know. I mean, I can only assume that those guys meet up once in a while and they all get together. But
you have a practice round with Ezra, Anthony, and Ricky. I mean, that's a lot of knowledge right there. So,
what do you think about the Ezra pick, Smitty?
As for your shine,
yeah, 31st currently.
I think he's a top 25, top 20 player, but I don't know that he's going to be consistent enough to be beyond that. He's going to throw in a stink once in a while, and course dependent as well. I mean, he's a bomber. That's his strength, and I don't know that he's much of a finesse player or a line hitter.
Yeah, he's got them cannons of an arm, so
yeah,
biceps.
Yep. So good pick, not a great pick, I don't think.
And then for the stink, my stink, number one stink got picked, so I'm gonna trickle down the list. I had Joey Buckets as 2. Not gonna do that one. Kind of thought more on it. I'm gonna go my third pick. One Chris Dickerson.
Okay.
I think he's not what I feel like he's not involved in the game as much as he used to be. Maybe that's family, that kind of sorts. I don't know. You just don't hear much about him. Maybe he's just quiet like Kyle and all the other ones. But I just don't see him having a top. Well, he was 8th last year. I don't see him going any higher than that.
Man, it's tough to bet against that dude.
He's
just got that type of game that's just like so predictable and repeatable, and he's really, really good about his routine and all of those things. And he's another guy that doesn't get crazy high or crazy low. And I think those type of players really, really help themselves to compete at a high level. I do think 8 is probably a good spot for him. I don't think if he does have a worse year, I don't think it's by much.
I just got the Paul vibes. So Paul was my original one, Paul McBeth.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like he's engaged and focused as he once was. And I just got the same feeling with Chris Dickerson. So, I mean,
I think it's tough with Chris because he just doesn't have much of a social media presence, so we just don't get to see him. So it's like all speculation with him. Same way with Paul. Paul's different because it feels like Paul's
somebody else's
attention is shifting to something else. But Chris, I mean, he still lives, breathes. I mean, it's all we see. If we see Chris Dickerson, it's playing disc golf. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I think I don't like the pick at all. I think Chris Dickerson's a bad dude. I think, like Lucas said, his game travels to all courses. It translates well everywhere. He can throw far enough to play the bomber courses. He's a sniper in the woods. And like you alluded to, Brandon, I think we don't hear much about him just because he doesn't care if you hear about him. I get the feeling that he's just a
country boy.
Good old boy. Yeah, he's just a good old boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I have him at Statmando is 13th last year, and I think he'll be a top 10 guy.
Do you know what he was in 23? Is he in 23?
Yeah, I think the thing that I posted had him as 8th.
8th both years? Oh no, it's for 2024.
Oh, yeah.
What are you guys looking at? PDJ rankings?
PDA,
yeah. That's what I posted in the Facebook group for everyone.
I don't know. He's been with Discraft too, so.
Cooley just hit us up in the chat that Dickerson was 5th, 6th, 11th, and 15th at the majors last year. That's going to be tough to do again. That's maybe your pick's a little better than
that's pretty
we
impressive.
thought. But
Well,
I think this guy could win a major.
Hopefully, Gannon doesn't stink too bad then.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
he
hey,
won't.
I will say that both your picks were ones we haven't heard. Ezra Aderhold, I really, really like that pick. I do think he has a better year. Dickerson, I can't get on board with that one. But if it does happen, Roadhouse, baby.
Yeah. I'm just thinking Ezra could be top 15. If he can get top 15, I'll be happy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a tough take for the year.
But he does have all the skill. He just does some dumb things.
He does. And it's frustrating, but
yeah. All right, dude. Well, thanks for hopping on. Thanks for hanging out.
No problem. Thanks for having me, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, buddy.
And we'll see you soon.
How's it going?
What up, dude?
Filling in for us. Called him up right at the last minute.
Yeah. So we gave you last
Picks are
pick.
solid, let me tell you. Okay. So for my my sleeper, I went sleeper instead of shine. I'm looking at the DGPT rankings. This is a guy that's been top 10, top 15 in the past, but has kind of faded into obscurity the last couple of years. But sponsor change last year, mid-year. Kevin Jones. Changing out of the Prodigy disc, getting some good discs with Innova. Now he's gotten a whole off season with the tail end of last year. I mean, we saw his play jump once he switched immediately, but then a whole off season to get familiar with Innova. I just think he's going to be a lot higher than 44th, which is what the DGPT has him right now.
He's for sure way better than 44th talent.
Yeah.
But you're right. He came out with his new Innova disc and he had a great showing, and then he had a big flop following it, a couple of them, I think. I don't know why that guy has fallen so hard. He's still phenomenal and fun to watch. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe he isn't as focused on disc golf. Maybe his music is taking up more of his time. I think that he plays at a lot of the Disc Golf Pro Tour events as entertainment, which is just another thing on your plate. So pretty solid pick, though. I definitely think he's top 30 for sure.
Yeah, I don't think that his current ranking is indicative of the player he is, but I think he's another one like Ezra Aderhold that just makes some dumb decisions on the course, and doesn't necessarily always plays golf. Like, you know, he'll do like a crazy grenade in some areas and maybe not make it where he needs to, or some crazy, you know, roller game. You know, he's got all of the shots, but sometimes he does some of those at places that you probably shouldn't. And maybe that's what makes him not finish as high as he has in the past. Because even in New Zealand, like, he's over there currently, and he hasn't been playing very well over there.
Not worth a dang.
Yeah. So I hope he has a better year, because I think he's definitely a fun player. But we'll see. We'll see.
Like I said, sleeper.
Definitely sleeper. That's kind of what I did with Burridge. So I can't hate on that, you know, because Burridge was 43rd, kind of the same situation. I'm hoping we see KJ. What do you think by the end of the year? Top 30, Shafe?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd expect even top 20, but I'm guessing he's jumping up 10 spots.
All right. That's fair.
Good pick.
For my stink, Joey Buckets was my first one, but he already got picked, and I kind of agree with a lot of what Loft brought up for him. So I'm just going to go with a guy that's been at the top, especially early, Anthony Barella. Slight fade down the stretch. I don't know. He usually comes out of the gates really hot, and I mean, obviously last year was his best year. I don't know. I just feel like it's hard to repeat that, get all those wins. I don't know. I think he's going to slide a little bit, fall back to the rest of the pack.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
with
that's a good one. 4 wins last year. I don't think he has as many. I think maybe half, not even half. I mean, if he gets one this year, I think that's probably where he'll end up with the win. So I think that's a really good pick.
I mean, I think he could get fewer. I also think he could double his win count. Just kind of depends what happens to him. But even just watching at the Memorial, this dude was in total control of that tournament until the last half of the final round game and started putting a little pressure on him. And it was closer than the final score because Anthony threw it away on the last hole. But I mean, it's just the same old with him. Every time he does something silly, I can guarantee you 30 seconds later, I'm going to get a message from Ronnie saying, AB just went AB. So, and then he'll turn around, then he'll throw some ridiculous shot, and you'll be like, what the heck? This guy's amazing. And then he'll do something crazy like miss that island 18 times. So that's a good pick. I mean, he, according to my records, he was third last year overall in the disc golf or on Statmando player rankings. That means it's really easy to go one way and really hard to go the other.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
I think that's a great pick.
A little bit of a cherry pick, not as much as mine, but.
Yeah, little bit.
I don't know if you can get more cherry pick than yours, Smitty.
Dude, but I'm not confident he's going to have a worse season.
No, I mean, it's where you want to go, but he could just have the same season.
Or
I mean,
what if he goes even better? Oh my God! Because I could see that too. That dude's insane.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He doesn't play perfect in his round, he doesn't play perfect, and he still wins. And sometimes it's not even close.
There's not a doubt in any of our minds that this dude could have 8 wins next year and win all the majors. None of us would be completely shocked. But at the same time, we can see him not winning any of those. Just something weird. But yeah. So it is a cherry pick, but like I said, I'm not confident he has a worse season.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's we have a few people still in the wind tunnel, but we'll bring everyone back just to see if we may have missed anyone. Hey, everyone.
What up?
What up, everyone? So a few people had to get out, but we still have, the 4 of you. Was there anyone that maybe we missed that we should have been talking about that you had on your list? Cooey, you got someone.
I can't believe nobody said Luke Taylor, just because I figured he would be like, he seems like he could really tear it up potentially. He was kind of the guy I wanted to go with, but I wasn't sure if he was going to have a full schedule this year or not. So yeah, he's the other guy I was thinking about though.
Yeah, who was his sponsor?
Discraft.
Okay.
I don't know how
he's sharp, man. He's wise beyond his years. He's for like 18-year-old. He sounded like he was 30 when I heard him on an interview. So he's got a good head.
Has he graduated and school commitments are all done and gone? Or
yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's why I didn't look into all that, so I wasn't really positive. So I didn't want to go with him for sure. But I think he's done. Yeah, I think he's done with school, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, I had looked at him a little bit, and then thinking back to his performance at Worlds and off the tee, he's another one of those dudes who's just absolutely amazing, and he was pretty good on the green at Worlds as well. But yeah, what does he play a full tour? Has he ever played a full tour? All those things are gonna determine where he finishes.
And see, I had someone for a shine that was kind of the same situation where I don't know what his tournament play is going to look like as far as how many tournaments. He played 18 tournaments last year, had 1 top 5, 12 finishes outside the top 40. So not good. This was one that was kind of be like a sleeper, like really do a lot better this year. And that's Big Germ. After seeing him and the way he played in New Zealand, if he plays a little bit more this year, I think we see like a resurgence of his game. I don't think we see a win, but I definitely see him way better than I think he was 66 or something crazy in the PDGA standings anyway.
I also want to throw out, I think Gavin Rathbun will pop off. Haven't seen him on lead card at DDO. That man can absolutely throw some bombs. And I mean, it's a low consistency on the green, but I think he's got a, with a full sponsor this year, not going open bag, I think he's got a chance.
Yeah, and I think he has the potential to be one of the faces of Prodigy, and maybe he really, really takes that and runs with it. I would love to see him pop off.
I had a kind of I had a deep sleeper. I feel like I had a Calvin Lundquist.
We saw him a few times last year, didn't we?
Yeah, he impressed me last year. So I know he's young. I don't know how much he's gonna be touring, but I'm sure he's gonna be touring a lot. So I figured he'd be a good sleeper, but I didn't pick him as my shine.
Yeah,
I was shocked nobody jumped on the Ezra Robinson pick. I could see him. I mean, we know he's going to win one. He didn't win one last year, but we know he's going to win a tournament this year. At least I do. I don't know which one. Maybe chess.com.
I just think the fact that he hasn't won in New Zealand, and I do know he's just throwing new discs right now, but the fact that he hasn't won yet gives me like a little bit of trepidation. I do think he's going to win, Smitty. I just don't know if it's going to be this year.
I feel like,
go ahead, Brandon.
I feel like if he does win, it's going to be later in the year, and I don't know how he's going to finish up to that point for his standing wise. I'm sure he's going to be top 20 finishing, but
well, yeah, he's already 7th according to Statmando. But the way I look at it in New Zealand, all of his mistakes were because he didn't know what his discs were doing. Couple that with terrible conditions.
Yeah.
And not knowing what your discs are going to do. And every time he lost, he ran into a buzzsaw that was having a great event.
Yeah. It's true. His putter has looked very impressive in New Zealand, though. And I think that's the biggest thing because he's played disc golf long enough. He's talented enough that he's going to learn exactly what those discs do. And so I do think it's just a matter of time. I agree with you. I just don't know when. Hopefully this year, but I'm thinking it might not be until next year.
Yeah, he wins this year somewhere.
All right. Dr. Pepper?
Well, I just drink tea now.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. All right. 13 teas.
Don't let him fall off the bandwagon.
It's happened before.
Yeah. Get you back on the sauce.
Well, right on, boys. Well, I think we did it.
Yeah, that was fun. Thanks all for being here. And I guess we're just going to do our outro now because we went a ways today. We're at 1 hour and 30 minutes. So, woo! This is going to be a long one. If you are still here, thank you for being here. Thanks for listening to all the picks. If you weren't here to do it with us, let us know in the comments who you think is going to have a worse year, who's going to have a best year than last year, and let us know if we missed someone. I think we nailed mostly everyone, but maybe there's someone under the radar that we forgot about. But we'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye now.